Hey guys, it's Mary Lucia, and I'm so happy to be hosting this virtual session with an artist that we just started playing this year, Beabadoobee. B, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. I have so many things I want to ask you, but first, here you were at the beginning of the year, January 2020, working on this new album, having all of these appearances lined up, Coachella, all this stuff, and then wham bam, thank you, ma'am. A little bit of a pandemic kind of
Yeah.
screwed that up. So, what did that do to you mentally? Like, did it make you just feel like, oh Lord, the momentum was going, and now what?
It was strange. I honestly thought that this is gonna be my year. Like I was so excited for, everything that was going to happen. But I think I really needed time. Like obviously of course like Corona is terrible, but I think quarantine really helped me kind of go through things that happened on tour and just kind of get over that. There was a lot of healing I had to do because I went it went from like playing a few shows and going to the US and touring and then two other tours straight after, and it was super intense. And I think if none of this would have happened and I went to Coachella and I did all these amazing things, obviously it would still be amazing, but I think I wouldn't have time to kind of like be in reality again. Like I missed my mom, I missed my dad, and I missed my brother, and I missed my friends and my boyfriend, and things happened on tour that I needed to get over, and I was like coming into terms of, you know, things that happened to me as a child, and kind of getting over that, which helped me write the album. Um, but yeah, it was. I think overall it was really a positive outcome because it helped me mentally this time. Yeah.
And you did openings for like the 1975, which I would imagine that was sort of a big arena. Um,
Mm.
I don't want to make you relive what was hurtful about it, but was it something that came unexpected that you thought, oh man, is this part of the deal?
Oh, it was. I honest. The one thing that I loved about tour was literally playing. Like I loved playing. I loved hanging out with my band. I loved the shows. I think it was just the mistakes I made as an individual that I was just trying to figure myself out. And I was really excited about everything, that. But then, that tour specifically, that 1975 tour, was the best tour ever. Like, the boys were so amazing, the crowds were so welcoming, and I finally felt comfortable on stage despite it being such a huge stage. But
Really?
it was so empowering. It was amazing. Yeah, that's like I miss live shows so much, man.
I know.
Yeah, I want to play live so badly.
Well, so having this time then to add to the record, Fake It Flowers, is have you pushed the release date back or is it still just for later this year?
Oh, it's still for yeah. It's getting released at the same day, October 16th. I think yeah. Um, and you'll get. I mean, I finished the album before lockdown, when lockdown happened in London. I mean, I had to record one of the songs at my boyfriend's house on like a 4-track
Hmm.
cassette recorder, which was super fun. But yeah, it was pretty much done. And mixed and mastering happened in the space of lockdown, but I'm super proud of it, and I think like time wise nothing's changed. I feel like it's given me especially more time to kind of think about the creative vision of it more. Like I lived at my boyfriend's house, and he directs all my music videos, and we pretty much inspire each other. So we kind of collaborated, and I really thought about what I wanted the whole vibe and aesthetic of the album Fake It Flowers would be, and especially Care. So yeah, it was actually turned out pretty okay.
It's interesting because a lot of artists who finish an album don't really have any time to reflect because they're immediately out promoting it and playing it live. And maybe you've had that luxury, if you will, of being able to sort of visualize these songs and how you want them to come off live. And that's something that maybe a lot of artists don't normally get to have.
Yeah, no, especially like I've definitely had that luxury to kind of just live within my album and really think about the songs and, think about the visual side. And now I'm like rehearsing again. I've had so much time to rehearse all these album songs and with my band and perfecting it. So when we go back into live shows, like it's going to sound as perfect as I want it to be. Um, so yeah, it's been really nice kind of appreciating everything that's happened so far. And I feel like I haven't done that for a while because I was everything was just going so fast, and then all of a sudden there's all this time to kind of just sit back and just you know be really happy and content, I guess.
So you guys are going to play a song. This is Beabadoobee. It's a virtual session on the Current.
So I had to see you, but I don't think I will. Think I was just like you, I'm lost into pain. It's me. You could be the one that deserves the same more. You stayed in the same dark place that I just stayed for more. I guess that's what happens to the best of us. Best of us. To come and see when the states do great. A part of me feels for you, but I'm doing alright. I guess I'm feeling fine, but it's mine. You could be the one that deserves the same more. You stayed in the same dark place that I stay from more. I guess that's what happens to the best of us. Sorry,
That was Beabadoobee doing Sorry for the Current's virtual sessions, and that will appear on the new full length debut album called Fake It Flowers in October. I want to know more about you. Well, you have a very interesting backstory, and I always find it very interesting when a person, a young person, has a real affinity for, like in your case, some of that sub pop grunge, that cool stuff that it's not always expected that someone like you would go, yeah, Pavement, Stephen Malkmus, he's like, he's it. So where did all that music just come through to you? Like, what was your resource? Internet?
It was definitely a lot of the internet, but it was just the people I knew as well. Like, I found Pavement through my boyfriend's brother who showed me Pavement, and I was like obsessed with the band straight away. And like, I think the music my mom used to play in the background of my childhood just kind of,
Yep.
I guess stayed with me, like, the Cranberries, and but then also like the Cardigans and Alanis Morissette and just amazing women. And I recently got into them, and just from that, like it's through the internet. I see like all these little strands of other artists. Like I found Liz Fern, I found Juliana Hatfield, and I found Veruca Soul and Sonic Youth, and all these amazing bands. But yeah, it's definitely internet and people I know.
And you started playing violin, and at what point were you like, no, I need a guitar?
It wasn't really. I guess it was just I was playing violin. It was not forced, but I feel like it was definitely that thing. I was like an Asian, stereotypical Asian child doing so many clubs and playing violin, and I wanted to be a doctor, and I had all this pressure, and then thankfully my parents kind of loosened up a bit and just like let me drop all the clubs I was doing, and I dropped violin. I was just getting super stressed and super anxious, and then it took a few years for me to get on guitar. Like it took me like all throughout high school and a year of sixth form, and also getting kicked out of sixth form, and then being able to play the guitar because I had nothing else to do. And my dad was like, "Oh my god, you look so bored. Here's a guitar. Just play it because you look so sad." And I was like, "Yeah, true." And then I think having that history of playing violin, and because not like being forced to do all these clubs, I guess I was super into learning how to play guitar, and it was super familiar to me already because of the violin. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's super cool.
And then I love the fact too that you, like anybody, you learned how to play guitar from YouTube tutorials.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, it was like,
what
oh
was
no,
the
carry
first song?
on.
Yeah, what was the first song that you thought, all right, I've got to learn the chords to what song?
It was this is so funny, but yeah, it was "Kiss Me" by Sixpence None the Richer. And if you listen carefully, they're very similar chords to the first song I ever wrote on guitar, which was "Coffee."
It's natural.
So
It's gonna happen.
it's
It's gonna
gonna
happen.
happen. Um,
Oh
but yeah,
God.
just like it's very. I guess it was so. I'm a visual learner, so if I typed in like how to play "Kiss Me" by Sixpence None the Richer, I'd watch how the person would play the guitar, how they play the chords, and then mimic it, and then just find my own way of playing it. And I to be honest, I don't know any chord names still. I just like know the shape of my fingers that I play
Perfect.
them in. But I guess it works.
I don't know any guitar players that know how to read music, but you probably do know how to read music from
I
violin.
don't know how. No,
Oh,
I
you don't?
used to. I used to
Okay.
be so good at reading music, but I think maybe if no, because I was reading strings and I couldn't read it. Yeah, I mean I used to do it so well when I was a kid, but for some reason I've just forgotten. It
I
sucks.
think the No, I think the brain eliminates what it doesn't need. It's like, I don't need that
Yeah.
anymore. I'll figure this out.
Brain
I'll
was
figure
like,
this out on my own.
yeah.
So you also recorded in Abbey Road. What was that like?
That was insane because like I'm a massive Beatles fan. Like one of the second posters I ever got in my room. And I have like all of their albums on cassette. So I went into Abbey Road and I was like, and there was like a picture, I think, of Paul and George. I think it was George. And by these steps in the room I was recording in. And I was like, oh my god, they were literally like, yeah, it was pretty wild. Yeah.
I mean, to go from like, which most artists are, making their records at home or in a basement studio or a home studio, and then getting the opportunity not only to go into a studio, but then you're going into Abbey Road. It's like, did you feel like ghosts in there?
Dude, it was I honestly cannot. I remember like I went out the night before, so I was like not hungover, but I was just super like I was in a weird headspace. And to go
Yeah.
into Abbey Road, like probably being awake for like 24 hours. I walked in, I was like, this is wild. I did feel like a ghost, but I think I felt like a ghost before I even entered. So,
Yeah.
but I
Oh
was like,
God,
this
yeah.
is crazy. It was, yeah, man, it was so fun. I like recorded "Don't You" like a cover of "Don't You Forget About Me" with my band, and it was like, don't want to leave.
Have you seen the Martin Scorsese Living in the Material World with the George Harrison documentary?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Girl, listen,
I'm gonna write
it's
that
re-
down.
it's religion. I'm telling you, it
Oh,
is. It's called Living in the Material World. Martin Scorsese directed it. It's really thorough. It's I watch it. It's like I don't know if you have movies or documentaries that you will literally almost like books. You'll go back to every couple of months because you
yeah.
remember exactly how it makes you feel. You
Mhm.
have to rent this, and then you have
Okay.
to let me know how changed a person you
Okay.
are.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll watch it. That sounds so fun. You're making me so want to watch it right now.
I'm telling you right now, it is. I could give you 1,000. I mean, it's so comprehensive because obviously, and he's my favorite Beatle, by the way. So,
Yeah. Same.
totally. Okay, good. So you guys, you're going to do a second song for us here in the virtual session, and which song is that going to be?
It's gonna be "Care," my new single off Fake It
All right.
Fast.
This is Beabadoobee. This is the virtual sessions here at the Current, and the song is Care.
It's been a while since you talked about it. Maybe it's time to cooperate. But it's so hard to forget about it. I don't want to say stop saying you can see. 'Cause you don't really It's been a while since you thought about it. Maybe it's time to communicate. Oh, it's so good to think about it. The fact that still can't forget about it. Oh, I don't want your sympathy. I guess I hide it all, but you don't really
You just heard the song Care by Beabadoobee. This is the Currents Virtual Sessions, and that is a song that will appear on the forthcoming debut album, Fake It Flowers, in October. B, you know who I think is one of the coolest dudes, and I think you think is one of the coolest dudes?
Hmm.
Mac DeMarco.
He's
Mac
so
DeMarco,
cool.
isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah,
He's so
he's so sweet.
real. And
Hmm.
you met him in a professional context or social context or
I think it was like both. So I supported him with my band at his show, and like we were like geeking out because we were like, oh my god, like literally my like adolescent like soundtrack was Mac DeMarco, and then and then it was super fun, and then we went out afterwards to a karaoke bar, and he did a stick and poke on my arm that I still have. I was going to get on my forehead because I was so drunk. I was like,
yeah,
do it on
that's a
my
good idea.
forehead. I was
Yeah,
away, but it's literally still on my arm. It's it's stick and
unreal.
poke, and he did it.
Oh, that's so
It's an
good.
alien.
And what
Yeah,
song did he sing at karaoke? Do you
I
remember?
don't
Or were
actually.
you
I honestly,
no.
I don't know, but I just remember getting stick and poke in this karaoke bar
Wow.
in
What's the
in Dublin.
in Dublin?
In Dublin, yeah, in Dublin.
What's the significance of Charlie Brown to you?
I guess it's just it's the first time people really delved into the idea of mental health, and but like kind of portrayed it in a way that is super easy to understand, and I think
Mhm.
it's just so pure and innocent and just real. Yeah, man. I remember going to the exhibition and being like, this is amazing.
Mhm.
But yeah.
That is so cool. Well, I also know that you're really interested in films and it would be very I think it would be very probable that with your music and with the way you write and the way you sort of compose music that soundtrack should be in your future. Or at least I mean, maybe somebody starts with just getting a song on movie soundtrack, which is incredible. But if the goal or end goal for you is to get some soundtrack in, let's just get cracking on that, girl. Let crack a
Yeah.
lacking on that, because that could be so rad.
I would love to. I'd like my dream is to be that band that plays in the end of a movie. When the boy and the girls at a party, and then there's like a band that plays in the background, or just being like the main soundtrack for a film, like the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack by it's called Black Sheep. It's just that is
Hmm.
such an amazing song. Yeah, man, I would love to soundtrack a film. That'd be a dream of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the Juno soundtrack had such a profound effect on
Yeah.
people, and you too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the
And
Moldy Peaches and Kimmy Dawson, like queen.
yeah,
She's a queen.
okay. So tell me about what you like about Kimya Dawson, because I'm not going to make any assumptions, but the simplicity and the purity of her writing and playing stuck out at that time. It was just like, wow, this is really different. Is that what the appeal was to you at first?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was just like the kind of stripped back of the backness of it all. Like it was just so simple yet so
Hmm.
endearing, and it just makes you listen
Yes.
because her lyrics are just so honest, and that they're not like fancy, and they don't have all these cool metaphors that people really think about. She just said what she thought in her head, and I am
Hmm.
not a like I was never really good at English in school, and I couldn't write that well. But when I write songs, I tend to just say things that come straight out of my head. And
Hmm.
when I found the Moldy Peaches, it was like that's okay, like because it sounds freaking cool. It sounds I
Yeah.
relate to this. I relate to what she's saying, and she inspires me a lot, very much.
I, and I would imagine similarly Daniel Johnston.
Oh yeah, he
Well,
is
from
like
a number of reasons, yes. But again, the
yeah,
simplicity and the complete
he's
purity of
amazing.
what came out of his
Yeah.
mouth. Do you have that pad and paper that I told you about the George Harris? You've seen The
Oh
Devil
yeah.
Inside, Daniel?
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy
It's
good.
Yeah, he's a legend, dude. I've got a tattoo of an artwork of his. The eye
Is it the
bat.
hi, how are you? Oh, yo, the eyeball.
Oh no, I
Yes.
got the eye bat. Yeah. But
Yes. Oh my God.
yeah,
Well,
he's amazing.
I am super excited. So the release of Fake It Flowers, the debut full length, is going to be coming out in October. So just thank you so much for doing this. And have you been doing a lot of these janky Zoom things with people? It's
Yeah,
weird.
I've done
Let's just call it
loads.
like it is. This is just weird. If you and I were in the room together, I don't know. I think it would be a whole different experience. But
Yeah,
this is kind of weird.
it's so weird, but I guess it's also really like pure because it's like it just like I don't know. It's also nice doing it from home as well. But then it
Sure.
is also really strange. Like I would so prefer if we could see each other in real life and wouldn't have that weird
Yeah.
thing like, oh, we're not allowed to hug and we have to like stay away from each other. Like,
Right.
man, I miss like touch and I miss meeting people
Oh,
and I miss stuff like that so
I
badly.
hear you.
Like,
I hear you.
hmm.
Well, thank you, B. You're a delight, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future. And let's just hope that 2021 is like the ass kicking year that you deserve. And thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you, everyone.